Okay, and we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream. It is 7:36 p.m. in Spain, 6:36 p.m. here in Portugal. It is the 18th of July, and today with the live stream, we'll have a look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press today, and we'll also take a look at some comments that have been left on the channel recently by viewers. And then in the second half of this evening's live stream, we'll go into the live chat and check out what is happening there. So we'll get straight into the news today. The first article here, and the first heat wave of the summer in Spain. 8 out of 10 municipalities at health risk. On the 18th of July, there are 552 municipalities in Spain located in areas at high risk of heat for health, 2,274 at medium risk, and 3,695 at low risk. In other words, 8 out of 10 municipalities in the country are at risk on Thursday. This map details the areas where the heat will reach dangerous levels for health, according to data from the Ministry of Health and the AEMET, the State Meteorological Agency. Spain is facing the first heat wave of the summer. From this Thursday onwards, it is expected to affect most of the peninsula or mainland Spain, except the northwest quadrant and the Cantabrian Sea. The areas most affected on this day will be the southern half and the northeastern quadrant of mainland Spain, where the temperature will generally exceed 38 degrees Celsius, according to AEMET forecasts. And we can see the map here of the hot areas in Spain and the cool areas, and basically, as we saw there, most of the country at medium or high risk. And we can see one area in particular, which is the Ribera del Ebro in Zaragoza, and we can see their extreme risk or high risk there, with temperatures up to 39.2 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow, 40.7, and the 20th of July, the day after, 39.6 degrees. So get ready for the heat wave in Spain. If you are in any of the country there, any part of the country with the orange or the dark orange color, get ready. But if you're in the north of Spain, Galicia, inland Asturias, Cantabria, parts of the Basque Country, it's going to be cooler, so some relief in those parts of Spain. Now, as a result of this heat wave, of course, it's dangerous to work outside. There are warnings as well. And as we can see here, Spain is warning workers of heat risks as summer's first heat wave looms. Spain will suffer its first heat wave of the summer starting on Thursday, the meteorology service AEMET said, as the government kicked off on Wednesday a heat risk awareness campaign for people working mostly outside. AEMET's orange level severe heat alert in parts of the country will also trigger a ban on some outdoor working in the afternoon under a government decree approved last year to cope with more and more frequent heat waves as a result of fossil fuel-driven climate change. The measure affects outdoors working, such as street cleaning and agriculture. There are people who are highly affected by such temperatures, by exposure over many hours and no proper hydration. So my main advice is don't underestimate them, because the body is not prepared to withstand those conditions too long, said AEMET spokesperson Luis Bannon. So there we go, working outside. Be careful if that is your situation, or even if you're out and about doing some tourism activities. Make sure you put on a hat. Make sure you keep well hydrated, because the heat can kill. We've seen it in recent years. People working outdoors, street cleaners, people working in agriculture, people working on construction sites, not getting through the day and unfortunately passing away due to the extreme heat, not looking after themselves. And as we saw recently with the, I think that person from the UK that died in Greece of dehydration or whatever the problem was there, going on a hike in extreme temperatures. So be careful would be my advice if you're in one of those hot areas in the country. Next piece of news here, and it is migrant youths denounce mistreatment in the Canary Islands. I know I'm not at home, but I want to be well treated, one person said. Gora listens to music, sitting with his back to the sea. He watches an empty swing in a playground with no children playing. Every afternoon for the past 5 months, he has been coming to this playground with other young Gambians who set out to sea to rewrite their future. Almost all of them left without telling their mothers and arrived on European shores alone. While the others are laughing and joking, Gora takes refuge in the music that pours from his headphones, uninterested in the views of the Atlantic, his eyes flying to the sky in search of the highest point of the palm trees. I arrived in November, and since then I just want to learn Spanish, says the 16-year-old. Beyond the noise and political clashes, 5,600 children remain on the archipelago in conditions that violate the most basic rights of minors. We are incapable of preserving children's rights, the Canary Islands president, Fernando Clavijo, acknowledged during the sectoral conference held on the 10th of July in Tenerife. So the conditions for these migrant youths, people that come to Spain from Africa without their families, they hop on a dodgy boat, cross the ocean, not telling their mothers, and they end up in one of these they're not even refugee camps, one of these migrant camps where conditions are said to be appalling. And all that young man wants to do is learn Spanish and get on with his life, if he can, somewhere in Europe. But as we know, not that easy. And obviously the message doesn't get across to a lot of people before they leave their families and their homes in countries like Gambia, as we saw there. So a strange and sad story that the conditions are bad for those kids. And the final piece of news, and it is related to probably Spain's second most famous actor, Antonio Banderas, Tony Flags, as his name would be in English. And apparently he's decided to demolish his mansion in Malaga. As we can read here, Antonio Banderas demolishes La Gaviota, or the seagull, his Marbella home. He lived there with wife Melanie Griffith. It was a place where his daughter Stella del Carmen was born and where he spent much of his confinement during the pandemic. Now Antonio Banderas has decided to demolish his house in Marbella, called La Gaviota, to say goodbye to the legal problems that have dogged him since he bought it. The property, which previously belonged to journalist Encarna Sanchez, was built in 1995 thanks to an illegal license granted by the then mayor Jesus Gil. And although the actor had tried to regularize the situation on several occasions since he bought it, he has not managed to do so. He has finally taken the decision to tear it down. Now he will be able to return to build a new residence in accordance with the law, as legal sources have confirmed to this newspaper. His entourage explained that Banderas does not plan to make any statements about the demolition. So there we go, Antonio Banderas losing the property that he bought. When was it? Back in 1996, I think. It was built in 1995, but the journalist in question here, Encarna Sanchez, I think died around that time, shortly after buying the property, and Antonio Banderas snapped it up. But of course, it didn't adhere to the Ley de Costas, the coastal law, coastal law that was brought in probably around that time as well, built too close to the coast, I think, and not complying with legal regulations. And he's been trying to sort the problem out for the last 20 years or so, but hasn't had any luck. So demolishing the house and probably going to build another one away a little bit from the coast. And we can get an idea of what we're looking at here with that property. Sorry, I'll put that one on in a minute. Actually, I haven't got the photo here, but I did have a photo ready to bring in, but it was of the house in question down there in Marbella, and it shows you how close the home was built to the coast. And the mayor in question at the time, Mr. Jesus Gil, that was him there in the jacuzzi, we're surrounded by young ladies. That was the mayor of Marbella back in the day, if you can believe it. An absolute, well, I don't want to use any adjective that will get me in trouble here, but he was a strange character, Mr. Gil. He was in control of Marbella when a lot of the housing went crazy with construction, because he was a builder himself, or he had a construction company. He went to jail, I think, in the late 60s, early 70s because of a building that collapsed, killing people. And he went on to become a successful businessman, you could say. He was the owner of the football club in Madrid called Atlético de Madrid. His family still own that, I believe, and he also went on to become the mayor, as I said, and ended up in jail or on serious charges for corruption. And if you watch any documentary about that time in Marbella, literally millions of euros were just pouring out of that town hall into the hands of greedy lawyers and people like Mr. Gil, allegedly, I think. I'll say allegedly because I'm not sure how that case ended up, but he ended up passing away, and that was his claim to fame, the mayor of Marbella and also the owner of the football club Atlético de Madrid. And he did have a crack at national politics, and I think that was also what began his demise, because once you get into the national politics in Spain, you lose friends quickly, you make a lot of enemies, and they brought him down. But we'll just show it again. That's what we were dealing with in Marbella back in the 1990s there. Mr. Jesus Gil, or Jesus Gil, if you want to use the English pronunciation of his name. First comment. Rick, 2 other Spanish victories over the weekend, that is, season winners of the International Elite Sail GP race series, and Sergio Garcia won the Live Golf Andalusia tournament, his first win in 4 years. Not many other things left to win. As for the Gibraltar outbursts, in my humble opinion, it was dumb to diminish a big sporting victory by introducing politics into the celebrations. Players may be smart on the pitch, but often a bit thick away from it, and Rodri should expect some deserved stick from the City fans when he trots onto the pitch. Thanks, Rick, for that. And of course, referring to the sporting success that Spain is currently experiencing, winning the Euro 2024 championship at Wimbledon. Also, Mr. Alcaraz was the victor there. Sailing championship, Live Golf, Sergio Garcia. So a lot of Spaniards doing well on the sporting fields at the moment. And going to show just how good Spain is at certain sports, tennis especially, with champions over the years, none more so than Rafa Nadal, and now Mr. Alcaraz on his way as well. And the Spanish football team, the most successful team in Europe, I read the other day, 4 Euro championships, and but a little bit controversial, the celebrations after the last one when they decided to chant Gibraltar is Spanish, and that not only annoyed the people in Gibraltar, but it also made the international press. And a lot of people in the comment section saying that maybe sports people should stay out of politics. Maybe they should, don't know. Let me know what you think. One here from Carol. Is Portugal always cooler? Are you in the north? Is it livable in the summer months without staying in air conditioning? Well, the answer to that, Carol, is it depends where you are in Portugal. The whole of the Iberian Peninsula, as they call it, can experience hot weather. The interior part of Portugal can be very warm. The parts that have borders with Extremadura in Spain, also with Andalusia, very, very warm. And you can get heat waves even in the north of Portugal, but it is cooler in general than the south. The Algarve can be very hot. Lisbon can be hot, and the areas surrounding. I'm about an hour north of Lisbon, and the difference to other parts of Portugal or close to where I am here is that where I am here basically juts out into the sea and is kept quite cool all year round. So no need for air conditioning. Just have the windows open and a nice breeze comes through the home, and you sleep well at night, which is the most important thing for me. I don't mind a hot day, but hot nights, no thank you. No thank you. Next one here from Kim. Footballers are highly privileged people, and as such should be very mindful of that. Thanks, Kim. That is true. They are highly privileged, especially the ones playing at the top level. If you're playing in the third division, maybe you're not so privileged. But if you're playing at the top level, whether it's in the Premier League or the Liga here in Spain, you are on a decent salary, I imagine. And some players, the absolute creme de la creme, the top players, are paid absolutely abhorrent salaries, enormous salaries that basically sets them up and 10 generations of their family up for life. And that's what we're dealing with people like Messi or Ronaldo. And then when they finish playing in Europe, Ronaldo, for example, he heads off to Saudi Arabia and picks up some Saudi dollars. And Messi, I think, in the States currently, not sure. But yeah, they have long careers, lucrative careers, and they do make very good salaries, and they have a privileged position thanks to their football talent, which I don't really understand because they're not really, a lot of them are geniuses outside of football, but on the football pitch, they bring people to the stadiums, and that's what counts, right? With all of these type of sports, bringing people to the stadium. Another one here from Gund. Funnily enough, as a Spanish person, I have never ever heard from family or friends Gibraltar ever being mentioned in any form. It's like a discourse that only exists in the internet and maybe the far right. Personally, I have, besides the military usage, no problem with that place. But it will be interesting to see in a century what role Gibraltar will play once the Algeciras area will span from Tarifa to Marbella as a single metropolitan area. There we go. Talking about the future there, the future of that area. Obviously, the population going to grow, and the Algeciras area, which surrounds Gibraltar, of course, the town next door, will span from Tarifa in Cádiz to Marbella in Malaga. But that's a general opinion. A lot of Spaniards just basically don't care about Gibraltar. They know it exists, but then they don't get caught up in the politics. It's only certain people on one side of politics that seem to trying to get this part of, this geographical part of Spain back into Spanish political hands. And as other people have pointed out in the comment section here, 2 referenda, I think, in Gibraltar, people said, no. We don't want to become part of Spain. We want to stay exactly as we are. But it is a difficult place to understand, as are some other areas in Europe. Andorra, for example, difficult to understand. Monaco, how does that exist? Got no idea. Liechtenstein, how does that exist? The Vatican City, how does that exist as well? So there are some strange places in Europe, that is for sure. Another one here from user, keep politics out of sport. A lot of people had that same idea or that same thought. Keep politics out of sport. We don't want sports people, no matter how good they are, telling us what to do outside of out in our lives, outside of the sporting arena. If you want a football player to tell you how to play football, sure, go for it. If you want a tennis player to teach you how to play tennis, great, but we don't really want to hear people's political opinions. And some people also said actors as well. We don't want to really hear actors' political opinions because they have a powerful voice. A lot of people, they talk to a lot of people, the original influencers, as we say. So should they keep sport out of politics? Actors keep out of politics? That's what some people say. Let me know where you stand on this. Another one here from Phil. Sport is sport. Sport and politics are a bad mix. And there will probably be a blowback. Again, keep out is what the general comments were. And the final comment here from this person here, Hal. Spaniard is an offensive word. Now, I don't know what English you speak, Hal, whether you are Spanish or whether you are an English speaker or a speaker of another language, but for me, the word Spaniard is not offensive at all. It's a word that you use to describe people from Spain. As simple as that. I've only ever heard Spanish people say this, oh no, that's an offensive word. Why? Why is it offensive? Because you don't like the sound of it? Sorry, but the word exists, and that's what the word is there for, to be used to describe people from Spain. Spaniards, a Spaniard, a person from Spain. Look it up in the dictionary. It doesn't have offensive written next to it. So thank you very much for that. But if you don't want to use the word Spaniard, just say a Spanish person, if you like. Then you have to add another word to it. So it becomes a little bit complicated. But for me, nothing wrong with the word Spaniard. Let me know what you guys think. Do you use it? Do you think it's offensive to call somebody from Spain a Spaniard? Don't know. Don't know. Anyway, people get upset. People get upset. All right, now let's have a look at some comments. I don't have any background, obviously, because I don't have a green screen behind me today. Or I could pretend that this is a green screen behind me, but it is not. But what I'm going to do is put the like icon on the screen here first. We're currently sitting at 55 likes, so if you haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. Just below the video, you will find it. So we'll see if we can get up to a decent tally today of likes. Also to people that have, people that have supported the channel, if you've got anything to send my way, spainspeaks@gmail.com. There's the email address. If you've got, and the dog's just jumped up on the couch there. If you've got any news to send my way, any interesting information that you think I would be interested in, that's the email address. Pictures as well that will go back up on the green screen once I get back to my usual place. So send those photos through, Spain photos, and also information that you would like to bring to my attention. Feel free, that's the email address. People that have supported the channel in recent times, whether it's on the super thanks option, it's too difficult. Super thanks option, buying me a coffee, Patreon, longer term supporters, feel free to sign up or buy me a coffee. If you like what I do, feel free to do that. And also people that have joined as members in recent times, if you go to the YouTube homepage, click the button, join for $1.99 a month. You can do that as well to help support the channel. So if you want, that's what you can do. Now into the chat section. Let's see what's going on there. Let me just scroll up to the top. Plenty of chat happening here. First one that I can see here from Jane and Pete in Pedralba, experiencing a 40-degree day tomorrow. Hope everyone has a great weekend and stays in the shade. Good advice there, stay in the shade. And if you're in a hot city in Spain, always remember to walk on the shady side of the street. Those high-rise buildings do provide a lot of shade, so remember, the shady side of the street. Good advice. Thanks, guys, for that. Barbara coming in from Playa Flamenca, 29 degrees Celsius there. Quite, well, not really mild. Probably perfect weather for that part of Spain. Darren had a hot day at work and have bought some lightweight trousers. Birthday next Thursday, turning 50. Well, I hope you have a good one, Darren, turning 50, the big 50 milestone birthday, and with some new trousers, some lightweight trousers, always a good idea. Charlie coming in from Murcia, the home of course, the Spanish tennis sensation, Carlos Alcaraz. High flyer John coming in from the UK. Just clean my chin. That's my beard looking a bit dirty there. High flyer John coming in. Hope you managed to get a cold one on Tuesday after the live. Have a great week. I did, John. I bought some Super Bock, put them in the fridge, got them cold, and did enjoy it. Thanks for that. I hope you had a good one, a cold one as well. Mary coming in from Península. Jealous of the cooler weather. Portugal looks nice. Yeah, Portugal, well, this part of Portugal, as I said, does have cooler weather. Which is an absolute pro to get away from those heat waves where the nighttime temperatures can be, yeah, we know what they're like. DL saying, hola, hola, valued member is DL. GG coming in also here from the Camino, I think, Padron, home of the famous Padron peppers, back again with 29 degrees Celsius weather, loving the famous Padron peppers and Galician wine. Hope all is well with everyone in the Spain Speaks family. Thanks for that, Gigi. Enjoying the wine up there in Galicia. White wine, no doubt. They got some decent reds as well, let's be honest. Richard coming in from North Yorks. Humid there. Very warm. Thanks, Richard, for that. Valued member 2. Jen coming in from hot Valencia, catching the live stream after a while thanks to a day off work. Enjoy the holidays. Thanks, Jen, for that. Thanks for sending me through those articles in recent times as well. Sani coming in from Basingstoke, 27 degrees there today, 30 plus expected tomorrow. Wow, that is hot. 30 plus expected tomorrow. Carol, valued member 2, managed to make the live tonight. First time for a while. Good to see you, Carol. Grant coming in from Sierra, up there in the north of Spain. Not too hot, says Grant. Good to see Grant up there in Asturias. Of course, that was on the map, one of the cooler areas, of course. The coast in Asturias looked a bit warm, to be honest, but inland not so. Torreverde, they're coming in from California, 100 degrees Fahrenheit with monsoon season coming in. Thanks for that. Carol says here that I'm doing the worst thing in this heat, cooking dinner in the kitchen. Absolutely, Carol, nothing worse than being stuck in the kitchen on a hot night like this. I remember as a kid growing up, my mother would complain a lot about the hot temperatures in the kitchen, trying to cook a meal for us kids back in the day. I still remember. Eric coming in from Terrassa, quite hot today, but tomorrow we'll have a heat wave with a high of 36. Dreading tomorrow, no sleep. My kiddies today are flat out, so tomorrow is a big day. There we go. Bronny coming in from Wales, 22 there, South Wales, and also quite warm for there tomorrow, and that feels hot also, she says Bronny. Lord Jim, hola Estuardo, 10 times as many people die in winter from the cold here in the UK than in the heat of summer. Global warming propaganda, sorry to say. Lord Jim doesn't seem to believe what's going on. Propaganda, he says. More people dying in the cold than the heat. Well, you can believe whatever you want, Lord Jim. You can believe whatever you want, but if you get stuck outside in the hot weather and you dehydrate, you can die. It's as simple as that. Have people always died in the cold weather? Absolutely, because it's extreme. But the heat is becoming hot, more extreme as the summers go by, we are being told. You believe it or not. Believe it or not. Do whatever you want to do. Believe it or not. Patrick coming in from not sure where. Which D-head says it's fossil fuel. Another one. The woke left. There we go. The woke left. This is just what they print in the paper. Again, you can choose to believe it or not. The woke left, as you call it. What's the agenda there? What's the agenda? You don't believe the climate scientists? Believe what you want. Believe what you want, Patrick. You're free to believe what you want. Taraz coming in from Aurora, Colorado, USA. This is a suburb of Denver. Thanks, Taraz, for that. Busby coming in saying hi. Dave coming in from a warm Madrid. The heat wave has arrived. Enjoy the time. Thanks for that, Dave. Jesus Gil, I was born rich. Don't think he was born rich, but he became rich. Temptation, a lot of temptation in that tub. Yeah, he had a television show where he used to sit in a hot tub with a microphone, as we saw, taped onto his hairy chest, and he used to talk about whatever he used to speak about, and he was always surrounded by young women in bikinis. That was his image. The Toro saying here that the 100 degrees Fahrenheit most days in July in the Mojave Desert. We've been under extreme heat warnings. There we go. What else? Live Golf, never watched. Any other golf I will watch. Okay, not a fan of Live Golf. Is Toro, sticking to the PGA. Ellie, could I talk about Spain's Olympic teams? Have they been selected? Thank you. Keep up the good work. You don't see much about the Olympic team here. There's not much interest in the Olympics in Spain in general. There will be some interest once they start, of course, but you don't really see a lot in the press. Press in Spain, sports press is dominated by football. You'll get the occasional article about tennis, maybe Formula One if a Spanish person wins. That's about it. The Olympics, sometimes if a person wins a gold medal, and there is a chance this year that Spain could pick up a couple of gold medals in the triple jump. I think there's a couple of or at least one Cuban who is now a Spanish citizen, who is apparently in line for a gold medal. And there's another woman who was born in Galicia, but she's trained by the Cuban Ivan Pedrosa. She's also in with a chance in the triple jump. So Spain possibly going to get 2 medals there. Can't really say where they're going to pick up any others because basically, as I said, there's not a lot of coverage. On the television news, you don't see anything about athletics or swimming or anything like that. Football is what dominates in Spain. So if Spain wins a gold medal in the football, possibility there. Maybe they'll win one in, maybe a couple of medals they'll get in sailing, I think, and maybe cycling, of course. But again, you don't get much coverage. B saying melting in the Canaries. There we go. Hot down there. I did hear there was a heat wave in the Olympics. Sport should stay out of politics. I think many entities should stay out of politics as a general rule. Alan in San Lorenzo, evenings due. Is a Spanish high street bank account required to rent an apartment in Spain? Or will just the Spanish IBAN or IBAN with a challenger bank, for example, suffice? Thanks. I think as long as it is an accredited bank, you should be okay to pay rent. You probably have to talk to the person in question to make sure that the money's going to come through. But if you've got a Spanish IBAN with that bank, I'm not familiar with the challenger bank, for example, there, but I think you should be okay with the Spanish IBAN. I think you shouldn't have any dramas. But again, somebody more informed than me will be able to let you know. Jacques coming in. Portugal is playing the Springbok team on Saturday in South Africa. Wish them luck. Yeah, they'll probably have to have luck to even come up against the South Africa. Portugal, not really famous for rugby, is Portugal. Again, a football-dominated country. And the Olympics here, I don't even think Portugal will get any type of medal, I don't think. There's absolutely no talk about it at all. But again, maybe they'll get a surprise and pick up something. Maybe there was an athlete from like Spain with the Cubans. Maybe there's an athlete coming in from Brazil who's now a Portuguese citizen, might have a chance in one of the events. But not really, I don't think. What else we got going on here? Johnny coming in from San Diego. Good to see you, Johnny. Valued member 2. Flutter Girl coming in from Toronto. Monumental flooding on Tuesday. Cars were abandoned on flooded motorways. There we go. So flooding in the middle of summer, those torrential rains. Spaniard is offensive according to Charlie. The politically correct term is pay a person, for example. Yeah, thanks for that, Charlie. That's a good joke. Erica coming in here. When Franco arrived, when Franco was having internal problems that affected the name of Spain, Gibraltar always came up. When studying politics, Gibraltar could be Spanish, but then Ceuta and Melilla couldn't be Spanish. Yeah, that's the argument is that. And a lot of people said, what about Ceuta? What about Melilla? Why don't they give them back to Morocco? And the Spaniards always say that they had those territories before Morocco was a country. So wherever you sit on that. Bob saying the same thing here. Valued member Bob. Yeah, never have any problem. But again, the argument is, as Erica points out there, that when you study in Spain, those territories were in Spanish hands before Morocco was a country, regardless of their geographical position. I think that's the argument, but don't quote me on that. Weather in the UK is naff. Want to get back to Benidorm for a week in the sun, says Sherbet Dip. Well, didn't we just see that it's warm there? JC coming in, only 20 degrees in Hastings, UK. So not hot in that part there. Andres coming in from Miramar, Florida, humid as well. Gijón is hot. There we go. So that's coastal area on the other side of the hill. So the coast in Asturias warm, but where Grant is, no. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. Mary's had to go. Tucson, Arizona, expecting cooler weather in October. Have to wait for then. The town hall have organised 200 places with cooling areas. mostly for the elderly or people with no means. That is a good idea, I think. If it gets too hot, make some places available that are cool. Darren has a new Renault Master with air conditioning. Makes a huge difference in the weather. Air conditioning does make a huge difference in the summer months, especially in Spain. Portugal has been getting better at rugby, actually. Thanks, Kev, for that. But they'll never get to the standard of a South Africa or an England or a Wales or an Ireland or a New Zealand. It will never happen. It will never happen. They might be good, getting better, but they'll never get to that standard. Or even an Argentina. Australia win 2, not sure what they won there. And Todd coming in from Texas, Wise account can be used to pay rent abroad. There we go, a Wise account. So those are ways that you can pay without necessarily having a Spanish bank account. So thanks for that. Now that's the end of the live stream. Been going for 35 minutes. Going to wrap it up. We'll be back on Sunday with another one. Hope to see you guys then. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great start to the weekend. Stay well. Hasta luego. Hasta entonces. Adios. Bye-bye.